Hello everybody, today I'm gonna read Captain Underpants and the Terrifying Return of Tippy Tinkletrousers. This one is very long and it actually has a ripped page. Luckily I remember what's on the page. So yeah, I'll describe it. So yeah, let's start. Underpants and the Terrifying Return of Tippy Tinkletrousers. Hi everybody, last time you saw us, we were headed to jail for the rest of our lives. Then something even worse happened. Check out this comic book to get caught up on our story so far. The super top secret truth about Captain Underpants by George and Harold. Once upon a while ago, there was two cool kids named George and Harold. Beat the bomb pops. Me too. Actually, it's once upon a while ago there were two cool kids named George and Harold. But I'm just gonna go with what it says. That a really mean principal named Mr. Crook. Blah 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 and stuff. So they hypnotized him. You will obey us, okay? You are now Captain Underpants. Groovy. Mr. Crump really thought he was Captain Underpants. Tra-la-la. And he got in lots of trouble. One time Dr. Diaper kidnapped him. Ha ha ha. And George and Harold had to save him. Booyah! Bye-bye. I'm free. Rat. Another time he almost got ate up by some talking toilets. And George and Harold had to save him again. Eat this, cafeteria food. I'm a hero. And then this other time a bunch of zombie nerds attacked. Captain Underpants drank some superpower juice. Glug glug, superpower juice. And he got superpowers. Then he saved George and Harold. It's about time. Here's the worst part. Whenever Mr. Crump hears somebody snap their fingers, blah blah blah, snap, turns into Captain Underpants, tra-la-la. And whenever Captain Underpants gets water on his head, splash, turns back into Mr. Crump. Blah blah blah. So whatever you do, don't snap your fingers around Mr. Crump. Seriously, dudes, ixnay napping say. That's pig Latin. And if you ever see Captain Underpants saving the world, hide the H2O. Quick, nobody put water on his head. In Treehouse Comics Inc. Chapter 1. George and Harold. This is George Beard and Harold Hutchins. George is the kid on the right with the tie and the flat up. And Harold is the one on the left with the t-shirt and the bad haircut. Remember that now. When our last adventure ended, George and Harold were being escorted to jail. The police had discovered surveillance photos of showing the two boys robbing a bank with Captain Underpants. Of course, we all know that George, Harold, and Captain Underpants were innocent. It was their evil twins who had robbed that bank. But the police hadn't bothered to read the last book, so they really didn't know what was going on. All they knew was that George and Harold looked a lot like two kids in the surveillance photos. So the cops yelled freeze and grabbed George and Harold, and then told the two boys of their terrible fate. Suddenly, a gigantic pair of robotic pants appeared from out of nowhere. The terrifying Tippy Tinkletrousers emerged from the zipper, zapped the cops with an ice spray because they ended up laughing at his new name. Then chased George and Harold and their two pets, Cracker and Sulu, and far into the cavernous depths of the lower right-hand corner of page 17. If you read our last epic novel, you know that this is how the story ended, but that's not how it was supposed to end. You see, Tippy and his giant ice-gray zapping robotic trousers weren't supposed to be there at all. That had come from the future and really interrupted what was supposed to happen. Unfortunately for Tippy, the simple act of sending himself backward through time would end up being a terrible, terrible mistake. A mistake that would ultimately lead to the destruction of our entire planet, more or less. But before I can tell you that story, I have to tell you this story. Chapter 2, The Banana Cream Pie Paradox. Time machines are awesome. There's no doubt about it. But they can also be super dangerous. It's possible that a person could go back in time and accidentally change one little thing. And then one teeny tiny, itsy bitsy, super small, really, really small, smaller than spider thing can profoundly affect the future. This is what scientists refer to as the banana cream pie paradox. The banana cream pie paradox. Please follow along with these handy illustrations, please. Imagine, if you will, that a scientist from the year 2020 baked a banana cream pie using bananas that he harvested from his very own banana tree. Now, let's suppose that this scientist took his banana cream pie into a time machine, which zapped him and the pie back into the year 1936. Now, let's imagine that the scientist stepped out of his time machine and accidentally tripped, smashing his pie into the face of a lady singing at a fancy garden party. Now, let's suppose that the lady jumped up angrily, wiped a handful of gooey banana cream pie filling from her face, and threw it at the scientist. The scientist ducked, causing the banana goo to smack into the face of a gentleman standing nearby. A waitress pointed at the gentleman and laughed. The angry gentleman wiped the goo from his face and smushed it into the waitress's face. Smush! Well, said the waitress, I've never been so insulted in my life. You ought to get out more, lady. Knock, 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 said a wise guy. Why don't you mind your own business, bird brain? Said another man, as he poked the wise guy in the eyes. The wise guy fell backward and landed on the scientist's banana tree, which was thus a tiny sapling in 1936. The tiny banana tree snapped in half and died. Now, if the scientist's banana tree died in 1936, it would never grow up and produce bananas. Therefore, the scientist would not have had the main ingredient he used to make his banana cream pie in the year 2020. Consequently, the banana cream pie would not exist. Tell that to these guys. I'm gonna throw this at you. No. Smoosh. Hey, what are you doing? Hey, who threw that? That just came out of nowhere. Hey, who threw that? You threw that? Okay, I'm gonna throw some banana cream pie in your face. Smush. Hey, who threw banana cream pie in my pants? Oh no, it's a giant food fight! Let's throw some into that guy's face. Smush. Oh yeah? Well, I'm gonna put some on your face. Duck. Hey! Stop throwing banana cream pie on my face! So he wipes it off and throws it at that guy. Oh yeah? Well then he kicks him, and then he kicks him back, and then it gets physical. And then they yank this guy into it, and then they start throwing cream pie everywhere. And then it goes everywhere, and then everyone gets into a fight, and then it just goes everywhere, consequently making the whole room banana cream pied. Anyways, many scientists throughout the centuries have pondered the banana cream pie paradox and have come to a conclusion that people should be really, 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 really careful when they use time machines. Because one simple change in the past could affect the future and possibly even destroy our entire planet. Chapter 3, the real last ending. Chapter 3, the real ending to our last adventure. As we already saw in Chapter 1, George and Harold were being taken to jail when Tippy Tinkletrousers traveled backwards through time and interfered. But what would have happened if he hadn't showed up? What was supposed to happen before Tippy so rudely interrupted them? Well, sit back and get comfortable because you're about to find out. The police chief and his right-hand man, Officer McWiggly, handcuffed George and Harold and shuffled them to the back of their police car. "You got the wrong guys," cried Harold. "We didn't rob that bank." It's true," said George. That bank was robbed by our evil twins from an alternative universe." "Yeah, right," said Officer McWiggly. "If I had a nickel for every time I've heard that excuse." 3899. On the next page, Mr. Krupp is taking a bunch of toilet paper off his house, and then this police car comes and arrests him. And then this next page is a newspaper saying that Jordan Hill got arrested, and the jury was a bunch of their classmates and a bunch of their teachers, I think. So yeah. So they ended up in the big house. Chapter 4. Life in the Big House. Poor Mr. Krupp. He had been locked up at the Pico State Penitentiary for a month, and the life of a jailbird just wasn't his thing. All day long he had puked bossing him around. He ate nutritionally deficient, horrible tasting meals in a filthy cafeteria. He got harassed constantly by a bunch of meat-headed bullies, and he spent his days doing menial busy work in an overcrowded, poorly renovated sweatshop. Mr. Cook was told when to eat, when to read, and when to exercise. He even had to ask permission to go to the bathroom. He was being constantly bombarded with pointless rules, ridiculous discipline, random searches, metal detectors, security cameras, and pharmaceuticals designed to make everyone compliant and docile. It was a lot like being a student at Jerome Horwitz Elementary School, except that the prison had better funding. "No peeking, nothing to see here. Mine are beeswax. Keep out." Mr. Krupp grumbled angrily to himself as he stomped around the prison courtyard on a gloomy autumn afternoon. In the center of the courtyard, a giant green tarp shielded everyone's eyes, from something large and tall that was being built in honor of Pico State Penitentiary's upcoming 10-year anniversary. Everyone assumed it was some kind of statue, but nobody had seen this top secret project, not even the warden, and nobody was quite sure what it was. "I'm sick of this place," Mr. Crook muttered to himself. "Everybody's telling me what to do. One more person gives me another order, I think I'm going to go crazy." "Hey, you!" shouted a tiny inmate working behind the green tarp. "Give me that hammer over there." And Mr. Crook clenched his fists furiously. "You can't tell me what to do," he screamed. "You're a prisoner just like I am." I most certainly am not anything like you," said the tiny prisoner. It was Tippy Tinkletrousers, who was serving an 8-year sentence for attempting to take over the planet with intent to enslave humanity. Now, if you've watched my fourth Captain Underpants video, which was the plot of Professor Poopy Bits, you should know who this guy is and why he changed his name. Mr. Crook rolled up his sweaty sleeves and stomped over the pint-sized prisoner. He eyed Tippy up and down. Tippy eyed Mr. Crook up and down and up. "Hey," Mr. Crook shouted, "you look kind of familiar." "I agree," said Tippy, "but I can't quite remember where I've seen you before." The two men walked in slow circles around each other. "Well, whoever you are," said Mr. Crook, "you got no business bossing me around." "I'll have you know," said Tippy, "that I'm more than just a regular prisoner. I'm an artiste. I was handpicked to build a statue by Warden Schmorden." Suddenly a rotten little man peeped from his bulbous, dandruff-speckled head out from behind the green tarp. "Did somebody just say my name?" asked excitedly. It was Warden Gordon B. Schmorden, the guardian and chief jailer of Pico State Penitentiary. Warden Schmorden was known far and wide for his cruelty and strictness. He once sentenced a prisoner to a year of solitary confinement, just for ending a sentence of preposition. Warden Schmorden was undoubtedly the most maniacal, evil person anyone had ever met, but the enduring jailer had one fatal weakness. He was easily flattered. And that weakness was exactly what Tippy Tinkletrousers used to talk his way to making a giant statue of Warden Gordon Schmorden to commemorate the 10-year anniversary of the Pico State Penitentiary. Nice to say it like that. Warden Schmorden. So easy. "So just leave everything to me," said Tippy Standard Project, "and I'll construct the most stunningly handsome statue you've ever seen." "Really?" said the warden. "Can you make it extra tall and extra handsome?" "Of course," said Tippy. "Wonderful, wonderful," cried Warden Schmorden. "How soon can you get started?" "As soon as I get my supplies." He handed the warden a carefully written list of tools and materials. "Hey," said Warden Schmorden, looking over the list, Why do most of these supplies come from the mad-scientist mini-mall? What do you need an emulsifying sausophalange inhibitor for? And what kind of statue uses a reverse soluble tractomic fractionalizer? You know, said Tippy. I don't tell you how to run your operation, so don't tell me how to build my statues. Fair enough, said Borden Schmorden. 84779. Chapter 5. The Unwilling. One brisk evening in late October, the entire prison was yawning with excitement. The prisoners had all gathered in the bleachers under a clear, moonlit sky, as the prison band played a slow, reverent, and deeply moving rendition of Whoop! There It Is. After everyone dried their eyes, Gordon Schmorden stepped onto the stage to congratulate himself. He proudly bragged about his great humility. He confessed his intense hatred of intolerant people and spoke for hours about his legendary brevity. And so everybody's sleeping. Yeah. Then the moment of truth finally arrived. Tippy Tinkletrousers' statue was finally ready to be shown to the world. Gentlemen and gentlemen, he announced, gives me great pleasure to get the heck out of here. Tippy pulled the tarp on and revealed his creation. Hey, shouted Warden Schmorden. That statue doesn't have a head. It's not a statue, yelled Tippy as he climbed a tall round ladder up to the cockpit on top. It's a giant balloon chute. And after I escape from this horrible prison, I'm going to put an end to that nonsensical nuisance, Captain Underpants. Tippy wiggled into the tiny cockpit and started up the engine. Suddenly, the colossal contraption came alive. The mighty chest heaved as its gigantic gorilla-like arms swayed threateningly. Woo, 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 woo. Sound the alarm! Screamed Warden Schmorden. Stop that guy! Armed guards ran in every direction, while sirens wailed and prisoners screamed for their lives. Massive searchlights swept across the sky as the metallic behemoth took its first thunder steps for freedom. Suddenly, Tippy stopping thought for a moment. Hey, I don't know where I saw that guy before, he said. Tippy searched the crowds of panic-making prisoners until he found the one he was looking for. The giant hand of Tippy's robo-suit reached down and plucked Mr. Crook from the crowd. I knew I'd recognize you from somewhere, said Tippy. You're the principal of that school I shrieked at last year. Oh yeah, said Mr. Crook. I remember you now. You're that Professor Poopy Pants guy. My name is not Professor Poopy Pants, screamed the angry villain. That was a ridiculous name. So I changed it to Tippy Tinkletrousers. Gee, that's a lot better, said Mr. Crook sarcastically. Tippy glared into Mr. Crook's defiant eyes. I shall ignore your impudence on one condition, Tippy said. Tell me where I can find George Beard and Harold Hutchins. George and Harold? Asked Mr. Crook as he dangled precariously from Tippy's giant robotic fingertips. What do you want with those two? Those boys have something to do with Captain Underpants, said Tippy. I've seen them all together. They know each other, I'm sure of it. Well, they should be pretty easy to find, said Mrs. Crump. They're both locked up at the Pequot Juvenile Detention Center. They're in juvie, eh? Said Tippy with a sinister smirk. Well, then that's where we're gonna go. Free! Tippy clutched Mr. Crump tightly in his robotic fist as he stomped forward, crushing the armored watchtower and smashing through cell block B. Freeze or we'll shoot! Shouted the guards. How about if I shoot and you freeze? Said Tippy as he pressed a button on his control panel, revealing a giant door in the chest of his robo-suit to swing open. A massive laser shooter poked up from the mechanical depths of the robo-suit and zapped the armed guards. Suddenly, they're transformed into frozen statues. What did you just do? Screamed Mr. Crump hysterically. Oh, relax, said Tippy. Just my freezy beam 4000. Temporarily freeze whatever it zaps, so for as long as I choose. Those cards will die in about 10 minutes. They'll be perfectly fine. Tippy's heavy mechanical monstrosity thundered through the prison parking lot, battering buses and crushing cars as it headed toward the Pequot Juvenile Detention Center. Chapter 6. Calling Captain Underpants. Across town at Pequot Juvenile Detention Center, George and Harold were getting ready for bed. You know, said George, I don't really mind being stuck here in juvie. Yes, Harold, not much different from our old school, except that they have library books here, and a music teacher, said George, and an art teacher, said Harold. The two boys discussed the similarities between the elementary school and forced confinement in the harsh, authoritarian penal institute. They heard the sounds of booming footsteps getting louder and louder. The entire building began to shake, and then Tippy stopped at the main entrance to the center and demanded to speak with whoever was in charge. After a few minutes, the center's administrator, Director Hector Schmecker, showed up nervously at the door. Said Director Schmecker, may I help you? Do you have two kids in there named George Peter and Harold Hutchins? Shouted Tippy. Oh, yeah, said Director Schmecker. Those two kids are nothing but trouble. They're always playing pranks, too. I mean, you just can't sit on the toilet around here without getting ketchup sprayed in your underwear. And last week, just hand them over, Tippy interrupted. Hey, no prob, the Director Schmecker chuckled, trying to sound cool. No children left behind. Two children left behind. Director Hector Schmecker pranced excitedly to George and Harold's cell, grabbed them by the arms, escorted them to the front door, and then he said, "This'll teach you for putting hair remover in my shampoo," said Director Schmecker. I mean, after all, he is bald. Hector tossed the boys outside and locked the door. Jordan Hill stood trembling before Tippy's massive robo-suit as the crazy inventor took menacingly. "Hello, Jordan Harold," crowed Tippy. "Remember me?" The boys were too frightened to speak. "Hey, Tippy," said Mr. Clark. "You don't need me anymore, do you? I mean, I told you where you can find the brass, right? You can let me go now, right?" "Yes, so," said Tippy. He set Mr. Krupp down on the ground by Jordan's foot. "Ha!" said Mr. Krupp laughed. "I never thought I'd be happy to see you two kids again. You bubs are in big trouble now." Almost without thinking, Jordan Hill reached out their hands and snapped their fingers. Snap! 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 Okay. Suddenly, a ridiculously optimistic smile spread across Mr. Krupp's face. "Hey!" cried Tippy. "What's going on down there?" What George and Harold knew was that, and what Tippy was about to discover, was that Mr. Krupp was transforming into the world's greatest superhero, Captain Underpants. Quickly, he wriggled out of his purple prison jumpsuit and he flipped his shoes away, peeled off his sweaty toupee. The only thing missing was a cape. Looked around the detention center, but couldn't find anything suitable. "Can't be a superhero without a cape," said Captain Underpants. "You're okay," George assured him. "Yeah," said Harold. "You don't need a cape. Seriously." "Sorry," said the captain, "but you gotta look fine if you're gonna fight crime." And with no time to spare, Captain Underpants flew off to find the cape. That guy was Captain Underpants?" cried Tippy. "Doy!" said George. "Ah! Ah!" screamed Tippy. "I just had him in my hand. I could have crushed him." Again, George responded with the only intelligent word that could possibly be applied in such a situation. "Doy!" Everything except fabric softener. The store for all your non-fabric softening needs. Open 24 hours. Superhero capes 100% off. Meanwhile, Captain Underpants had flown to a nearby shopping center, which was having its semi-annual lazy storytelling sale. "Quick," said Captain Underpants, "do you guys sell superhero capes?" "You betcha," said the employees cheerfully. "They're in aisle 39 between the diaries and the wizard hats." "Awesome!" cried Captain Underpants. In no time at all, our hero found the cape, tied it around his neck, and flew off into the night to face his mortal enemy. Tippy wanted to know what was it about Captain Underpants. He clutched Judge and Harold and said, "Hey, you kids, tell me about Captain Underpants or I'm gonna squeeze you like blueberries." "Well," said George, "he's really strong, and," said Harold, "he's really powerful." "Yes, said P. "What else is he?" "He's right behind you," said George and Harold simultaneously. Pow! Tippy turned quickly, but not quickly enough. Captain Underpants swung his flabby fist and bashed Tippy right in the jaw. The force of the blow sent Tippy's robo-suit flying over the top of the juvenile detention center and into one of Pico's many downtown skyscrapers. Jordan Hill flew from the grip of Tippy's robo-fist and landed safely in some nearby bushes. "I'll kill you!" screamed Tippy as he pulled himself and lunged at Captain Underpants. He aimed his freeze ray at Captain Underpants. "Oh, Tippy!" called Captain Underpants as he sat coyly atop a nearby skyscraper. "I'm up here!" Tippy turned quickly and zapped his freezy beam 4,000 at the skyscraper. But then Captain Underpants zinged away just the right amount of time. "Yoo-hoo, Tippy tip tip!" Like, give me the push. He was at Jerome Horwitz Elementary School playground where it only had a swing apparently. I'm surprised they even have swings. Tippy leaped over the school and landed in the football field. He zapped it again, but Captain Underpants singed away just in time. "Here, Tippy, Tippy, Tippy!" called Captain Underpants again as he lounged lazily between Tippy's gigantic robotic feet. "I'm down here now. Can I have some ice, please?" "Why, you little!" screamed Tippy as he bent over and zapped his freezy beam 4,000 between his feet. Zonk! Tippy ended up in his own icy situation. Little did Captain Underpants know his Robo-Pants was also a time machine. Then Captain Underpants pulled and pulled, clank. And the robo-suit was in two, but Tippy escaped. 5 years in the past. But we need to go even further. 5 years, 11 days, 14 hours, and 6 minutes ago. How was it 11 days? Well, okay, I'll tell you. This is Monday. The next day at school is Tuesday, and it goes all the way to Friday. It's like over the weekend. Saturday, Sunday, Monday. Where is it? No. This is Tuesday, October 23rd. This is Monday, October 22nd. 21st. There's the 21st. Then the 20th is the weekend. 19th is the Friday. And Monday is the Monday is the 19th. As the 15th. And it goes all the way to Friday the 26th. So this takes place. This giant battle takes place on October 26th. Basically, what happens is that there's this kid named Harold Hutchins. He lives at 1520 Wine Street in Pico, Ohio. He likes to draw a lot. He didn't really talk, but he doesn't really talk at all. although he does draw a lot. The reason he didn't talk a lot was because his parents had gotten divorced and they didn't really talk about this. None of it had been easy for Harold, so he had just been quiet for a few months. Anyways, one day, Harold put his pencils, some of his best drawings, some blank paper, and put it in his backpack, not knowing what would be of the day in front of him. His mom said, "Hey, maybe you'll make a friend at school today." He said, maybe you'll be friends with that kid who lives next door." Again. That just so happens to be George, who lives at 1526 Wine Street. Anyways, his mom gives him some lunch money, and she says, "This is for your lunch, okay? Don't want you using it at the candy machine or the pop machine." "I won't," said Harold. That much was true. Harold knew his lunch money would never make it the candy machine or the pop machine. Harold's $2 usually never even made it to school. They were always taken away from him by a sixth-grade bully named Kipper. Kipper Krupp was the biggest bully at Jerome Horwitz Elementary School. He was the captain of the wrestling team and the nephew of the school principal, so everybody treated him like royalty. Kipper's three creepy friends, Loogie, Bug, and Finstein, also got special treatment. They all paraded up and down the school hallways like they owned the place. Every day, Kipper and his three friends stole lunch money from the kindergartners. Most of the kids just handed it over without question. It was a lot less trouble and much less painful than getting a wedgie or a punch in the stomach. Kipper Club liked to terrorize kindergartners, and there was nothing anybody could do about it. If Kipper ever got into a jam, all he had to do was call on his uncle, Principal Krupp. "Uncle Benny," Kipper would cry, "that kindergarten just hit my fist with her stomach." "Oh, she did, did she?" Mr. Krupp would yell, turning to a small child writhing in pain on the floor. "How dare you hurt my nephew's fist?" We all know that he actually punched her in the stomach and she's just giving her a hard time. Mrs. Krupp had a zero-tolerance policy in place at Jerome Horwitz Elementary School, and he was really strict about it. He had once suspended a third grader for saying the word gun. To be honest, the boy had actually said the word gum, but it sounded a lot like gun, and there was no room for common sense when it came to zero tolerance. Okay, this guy is absolutely a psycho. Trash meal. Harold knew from experience that the wisest thing to do was stay out of Kipper's way. So his daily walk to school became more like an obstacle course. He ran in spurts, mailbox to tree. Then that Monday, Harold thought he was okay. He just had to go to the gas station and hide behind the billboard, then go to another obstacle nearby, and so on and so forth, till he made it to the school. But unfortunately, it's behind Billy Bill's gas station. And Billy Bill was very mean. "Hey, you stupid kid!" shouted Billy Bill, the owner of the gas station. "Get away from that sign!" Harold's heart was pounding in his throat as Billy Bill stomped toward him and grabbed the back of his t-shirt. It made a terrible scene. "That sign is a valuable piece of merchandise," Billy Bill screamed. "Not a toy for you to play with." I'm sorry, Harold whispered, but it was too late. It had caught the attention of Kipper and his three creepy friends for no absolute reason. These guys are psycho. "Hey, kid," yelled Kipper, "why are you bothering this nice man?" "I'm sorry," Harold said again, looking down. Billy Bill released Harold with a shove, causing him to fall to the ground. "You boys better take care of your little friend there," Billy Bill said. "I'm going to call the cops on him." "Don't worry, mister," said Kipper with an evil grin. "We'll take good care of him." Boom, 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 boom. "Hey, dumb kid, you gotta learn how to stick up for yourself. People are gonna bully you your whole life." Harold was getting his lunch money taken by Kipper. It was making a really terrible scene. It's more terrible than this scene. Unfortunately, Harold's bad luck was increasing, but little does he know it will decrease. George, this is George Beard. George is 5 3/4 years old. George was what adults like to call a precocious child. His mother taught him how to read and write when he was 4 years old, and he currently scored higher tests than most children twice his age. George's former teachers had suggested he skip ahead to the 3rd grade, but his parents decided it would be better if George stayed in the classroom with kids his own age. To this day, George's parents are still not sure if they had made the right decision. On the one hand, George had developed good social skills and had been well liked by his classmates. That was good. On the other hand, George was often bored in class and got into mischief. That was bad. Woohoo! Yeah, let's go, buddy. Hey, what's that guy doing? Oh, looks like he's riding his skateboard. Whoa, how could he do that? I'll probably just end up getting my head hurt. Well, you are a big old dumbhead. Hey! Then George also made up stories. Sometimes it would be inappropriate stories, and his teachers thought it was rude. Meanwhile, his classmates thought they were funny. The fart that ate Detroit. On his first day of his new school, George's mother gave him a tie to wear because they because he wanted him to make a good first impression. Yeah, right, like that's gonna happen. Ah, Mom, ties are for nerds. Oh, come on. Your dad wears a tie. Is he a nerd? Yeah. George, hey, don't be ridiculous. George's mom. You're wearing a tie and that's fine. Rats. George put his backpack on and reluctantly hugged his mom at the door. He was still a little upset about the whole tie thing. Have a good first day at school, dear, said George's mom. George grabbed a skateboard from bushes by the driveway and started off towards school. It was about 5 blocks away, and the sidewalks were mostly smooth with hardly any pedals, good for skateboarding. But then he saw that scene at the gas station where these guys are taking his money, and he's just laughing. This was not good. So what he ended up doing was he took the letters K and E from the sign free brake inspection to make free bronze inspection. Hey, screamed Billy Bill, you get away from that sign right now, you hear? What is wrong with you kids these days? He wanted to yank George, but he never got the chance. Then Violet Volkswagen jumped the curb and screeched up next to Billy Bill. Two old ladies flew out of the car, screaming at the top of their lungs. Free bra inspection, shouted the driver, and she smacked Billy Bill over the head with his purse. That's offensive. How dare you, yelled the other lady, hitting Billy Bill with her cane. Women are human beings, not toys for you to play with. You're a male chauvinist pig, screamed the third lady, who had run over from the coffee shop across the street with a group of her and her angry female friends. They each took turns kicking Billy Bill repeatedly in the knees as other women drivers slammed on their brakes and rushed forward to join in the ferocious female fight for equality. You gotta learn to stick up for yourself, said the Billy Bill, smiling, or people are gonna bully you your whole life. George walked past it, and then he went to school. Hey, what are you guys doing? Oh, we're just ripping up this guy's pencils and his drawings. What you gonna do about it? I'm gonna Indiana Jones you. Get him! This guy looks stupid. Chapter 12. The incredibly graphic lines chapter in the Flipperama. Indiana George and Tie of Doom. The Keeper Whipper. Kipper screamed like a giant blubbering baby and ran for his life. Then Bug and Loogie were up next. The attacker smacked her. Let's get out of here, Loogie screamed Loogie and Bug through their tears. Fangs then opened up the trash can and the four bullies tried to scramble inside, but they weren't fast enough. The tormentor prevented. Obviously, you can tell who's who. This guy is this guy. This guy is this guy. This guy is this guy. And obviously, this guy is this guy. In chapter 13, the detention. You don't mess with him or me. You answer to the tie. Uncle Benny. What is going on here? That little kid beat us up. Oh, he did. Did he? Discrepancy grabbed George by his arm. I don't take kindly to bullies in this school. They're the bullies, cried Hero, pointing at Kipper and his three friends. Those guys were just about to beat that kid up. He was just defending himself. Mr. Crook reached around and grabbed Harold by him. I don't like liars either. You two are troublemakers are gonna say it here till you learn your lesson, he shouted. And so much for a good first impression. For several minutes they're just sitting there. Then Harold took out his notebook and then he took out the pointy parts of one of his pencils. He started drawing. You're a good drawer. Thanks. What's that guy's name? He doesn't have a name. How come? It's just a picture. He said it's not really a story. Oh. Do you want to draw too? I have some more pencils. They're broken, but the pointy parts still work okay. No, said George. I can't draw good. I'm a good writer. Oh, said Harold. He tore some fresh pages from the back of his notebook and handed them to George. Here, you can write on these if you want. Hey, what's your name, kid? Harold. Okay. The Adventures of Dogman by George and Harold. I'm gonna write a comic book. You can draw it, okay? Okay. And that's how this started. The Adventures of Dogman. Action, laugh, please. By George and Harold. One time there was a police guy. His partner was a dog named Greg. They're good at catching criminals and stuff. Then one day there was a bomb. Kablooey! The bomb blew up. And they got hurt. So an ambulance took them to the hospital. How do you feel, old friend? Rough. Me too. And so, soon the doctor came in with sad news. Boo-hoo. I am sorry, Greg, but your body is dying. Your head is dying too, cop. Rats, I sure hate my dying head. But then, hey, I got an idea. Nurse lady, why don't we sew Greg's head on the cop's body? Then this happened. Hooray for Dogman! Dogman was best of all cops. He could sniff crooks with his dog nose. He could hear crimes with his dog ears. And best of all, he could punch criminals with his human fist. Pow, ow, rats. Quick, Dogman, where is the crook? Roof. He's heads up on the roof. What is he wearing? Pant. He's wearing pants. How will we ever get up there? There. Bark. Good idea, Dogman. Let's climb the bark of this tree. And so we caught the bad guy. We couldn't have did it without you. He was the greatest cop ever. Then he still was scared of vacuum cleaners. I forgot. Dogs are scared of vacuum cleaners. Then that day, Petey was the world's most evil cat, and he was watching Dogman. So he built an evil vacuum robot, and he made it do evil stuff. Quick, Dogman, a robot is robbing the bank. Dogman run to save the day, but then Dogman run away. I'll get you, Dogman. He run and run. Finally, Dogman got cornered in a corner. I'll kill you. The vacuum cleaner got closer and closer. Dogman got scareder and scareder. The vacuum robot leaped attackishly, but then look what happened. The vacuum got unplugged. Dogman wasn't as scared no more. He beated up the robot. How? Then he followed the cord. It leaded straight to P's hideout. Uh-oh, secret hideout. Then, dang it, rats. If only I would have made that cord 6 inches long. Dogman was the hero. And then, Chapter 15, the plan. Now they decided to make copies of that new comic. It turned out pretty good according to them. To me, it didn't turn out good. We should make copies of this and sell them for 10 cents each. Then they saw these guys these guys. Oh, Kippy, as you read from it's that kid again. Run! Out of business. They ended up walking home. Okay, I'm just gonna have to tell you what happens. So they go home, they see his dad building a treehouse, then they eat some peanut butter gummy worm sandwiches and think up some weaknesses. Then in chapter 16, Super Spies, they go spying Kipper, they know his schedule better than Kipper does. Apparently he's a creature of habit, does everything at the exact same time. He does everything with his walker, so at the same time, exact same time. There's also this key to unlock his walker, never takes it off. So George goes gets a heavy-duty padlock and a Susie Sunshine friendship bracelet. They make the bracelets and get some plans, evil plans, and then they need this. So they end up using a new a stall with all their supplies. Close the stall doors and locks it. It would be the safest place to hide stuff. Then apparently they're on diets. But then they go get this. They get the replaced padlock, run and do all these pranks, gimmicks. Then they unlock it. They take all his money out, put the Susie Sunshine in, and they put a note in, and then another note in here with a bunch of friendship bracelets. Apparently someone's been in his locker. FaceTime shows him the text. They go on and on. On Tuesday they use some dresses. And then they spread the word about this Wedgie Maggie. Apparently Wedgie Maggie gives them a bunch of school pizza. They do it all over again, only the dresses. And then it's basically the same thing all over again on Wednesday. On Thursday he gets a brand new padlock, and so replace it. Then the pizza guy comes again, and then he gives out the rumors that they're on diets. Then they start bragging about it. And then they have to do some foamy white ectoplasm and he looks like an apple with leg. Then they put shaving cream onto and get like some shaving cans. Then they tell the cheerleaders they saw a ghost, and then foamy white ectoplasm. Everyone goes down the stairs. There's cups like that's a bunch of bunk. Then they make a comic, make it look ancient. They order some pizza, and then he gets a haircut. They put some baby powder, and then he orders a super hot pizza that ends up being a terrible scene. They go to the nurse's office, go to wrestling practice. They take these spiders, put it in lockers, place deodorant with extra spicy jalapeno cream cheese. They take that comic and put it in there. There's also this walkie-talkie to make scary sounds. This guy freaks out. He holds out the comic, and it's like pretty scary. Tell them how they got the curse and how to undo the curse. And then there's like a giant storm, and they're making creepy sounds. He pees his pants. He goes around punching his head with his fist. He goes crying. He's like, "We're sorry." And he's like, "I am the ghost. I'm Maggie." And then he's in the meeting. It sounds like Reggie Maggie's pants. And then these pants start moving. Then they start going. They have to go out, but they crash into Mr. Krupps. They believe that Mr. Krupps is a monster. Go. And then they're supposed to end up nice, but what ends up happening is that Tippy Tinkletrousers goes to exactly 5 years ago to here, and then they get freaked out, they go crazy. Mr. Krupps gets blamed for the whole thing, and he gets fired, and then apparently Earth gets destroyed because talking toilets attack, and Dr. Diaper blows up the moon, and zombie nerds attack. Then Tippy comes across this boy and his mom. He tells him everything. Apparently there's no Captain Underpants. Then he dies, and apparently it's supposed to look like he dies, but you'll find out what happens next. That video ended up being shorter than I expected, but that's because I actually had to explain it instead of read it, because this video would have ended up being pretty long. So yeah. Well, I hope you had fun. Subscribe, like, and if you watched this far, you can like if you wanna. So bye, everybody.